Hello, and welcome to the Fandom Alchemists, where we toss two things into a blender, pray, and just drink whatever comes out. My name is Kevin, and today we're mashing up two things I've been obsessed with for way too long: Pokemon and the MCU. Especially with all the new Pokemon stuff coming this year and next year, and the release of Black Widow, my hype is at an all-time high. So originally I wanted to answer the question, what if the MCU characters were Pokemon trainers? But that wasn't enough. Not here. We wanted to take it a step further. I want to see what a full Pokemon game could look like based on the MCU. So we're going to go over everything, from the start of the game, the 8 gyms, the Elite Four, and even the Pokemon League champion. The logic and reasoning we'll be using in this video is based solely on Pokemon games up until Generation 8, and the portrayal of the MCU heroes in the movies only, and not any other interpretations. So before we get started, I wanted to issue a huge spoiler warning for anyone who's not caught up with the MCU movies. Also, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to keep up to date with our latest videos. With that out of the way, it's time to set up on our Pokemon journey to the Marvel region in 3, 2, 1. Every Pokemon game starts off with the professor and your rivals in your hometown. The professor is usually the person who begins your Pokemon journey and gives you your first Pokemon. So who better than Nick Fury to act as the professor of this region? He started the Avengers Initiative, so it just makes perfect sense that he's going to start your Pokemon journey. At SHIELD headquarters, you'll come across two rivals, Clint and Natasha. Now, since Black Widow generally has been shown to beat Hawkeye in a one-on-one match, at least within the MCU, Natasha will always pick the starter that's strong against your Pokemon, and Hawkeye will pick the weaker. So now it's time to meet the 8 gym leaders. In general, I wanted to go in release order the movies, so the first gym will be Iron Man's. And to the surprise of no one, his specialty will be steel types because, you know, iron, steel. And as the first gym, Tony's team can't be too strong, so I kept him to 2 lower leveled Pokemon. I decided to go with Magnemite and Clang, as both of these Pokemon are in reference to Tony's mechanical and engineering skills. Gym number 2 will be Bruce Banner's, aka the Hulk. Unfortunately, there's no Smash type, but there are a few Smash moves. We got Rock Smash, Head Smash, Shell Smash, but I ultimately decided to go with Hulk being a Rock type specialist since Rock Smash just makes sense to give to a Pokemon Hulk has. Even though it's a fighting type move, which if it were up to me, I would have just made it a Rock type move since it's literally called Rock Smash, but anyways. With it still being the second gym, I kept him to 2 Pokemon. Geodude, who learns Rock Smash, and Rampardos, who learns Head Smash, which is actually a Rock type move. And also might be too powerful this early in the game. Up next is Thor, the God of Thunder, and you guessed it, Electric type Pokemon will be his specialty. Thor's team will consist of Electabuzz, Magneton, because among the 4 electric steel type Pokemon, it seemed to be the best fit to reference both Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. And last but not least, Alolan Golem, because of its cute little beard he's rocking that matches Thor. Rounding out the original Avengers, we have Captain America as our 4th gym leader. This one was kinda tough because Cap's abilities don't necessarily scream Pokemon type, so I thought to myself, what's the most American animal I can think of? And I thought of the bald-headed eagle. And would you look at that? Nice. So anyway, I made Cap a flying type gym. Cap's team will of course include Braviary, but I also wanted to include Hawlucha, whose fighting type references the Super Soldier Serum, and Corviknight, whose steel typing represents Cap's shield. Now's kind of the part that makes it really difficult for me because I had to make some major cuts. Including the original Avengers was a no-brainer, but now I kinda have to narrow it down to 4 characters out of the dozen remaining characters in the MCU. So if your favorite didn't make the cut, sorry, but let us know in the comments what Pokemon team you'd give them. In order to narrow it down, I decided to focus on Marvel characters who have actually starred in their own movies, so next I went with Doctor Strange, who will be the Psychic type gym leader. His powers come from something very ancient and is visually shown through a lot of glyphs and symbols, so I wanted his Pokemon to reflect that as well. His team will include Sigilyph, Beheeyem, Xatu, and Medicham, to kinda reference what I assume is meditating to look into the future in Infinity War. So, up next is arguably the toughest decision I have to make this video. Who's gonna be the Bug-type gym leader? Because on one side you have Spider-Man, and on the other side you have the 1-2 combination that is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp could be unique though and serve as a double battle gym, but I ultimately went with Spider-Man just because his third movie's gonna come out first. Spider-Man's bug-type team will include all the spiders, of course. Ariados, Galvantula, Arachnid, but I also wanted to include Scizor, because honestly he kinda looks like Spider-Man. Next up is the King of Wakanda, T'Challa, aka Black Panther. This was another tough one because vibranium is a metal that his suit's made of, and steel was already given to Iron Man. So instead I thought about how the power of the Black Panther is connected to its previous users, whose spirits live on in the ancestral plane. And so I ultimately decided to go with Ghost type to reference this aspect of the Black Panther power. T'Challa's team will consist of Banette and Sableye, since both of them kind of have similar appearances to the suit. Gorgeist to reference the Black Panther power kinda coming from a plant. Palisand, since after eating the plant, you get covered in sand. And Alolan Marowak for many of its Pokedex entries talking about mourning and losses, which becomes a major theme in T'Challa's story. Last but certainly not least, for Gym 8 we have Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers has been positioned by Marvel and Disney to be one of the strongest heroes in their canon. All of her epic entrances have her glowing bright like an angel or goddess, and every time she appears there's a sense of hope that everyone around her feels. Which is why fairy typing is perfect. I wanted to recreate that endgame moment where Captain Marvel essentially assembles the A-Force, so I picked the most humanoid fairy Pokemon who are also evolved enough for such a late game gym. Captain Marvel's team will consist of Florges, Alcremie, Gardevoir, Primarina, and Hatterene. Honestly, I wish I kinda had the skills to animate this as a parody, cause that would be awesome, but I can't, so if anyone out there wants to, feel free to send that over. Now on to the Elite Four. So for the Elite Four, I kind of always thought of them as a team anyway, and it just made too much sense to make the Guardians of the Galaxy the Elite Four. For a while though, I was kind of stuck on how to fit the Guardians into the Elite Four formula, since technically there's more than 4 members of the Guardians, but I worked around this. And unfortunately the biggest casualty is Mantis. Just cause she's kind of another bug-like being, and her empathic abilities kind of fit under Psychic type as well. So both these types were already taken, and unfortunately, she just didn't make the cut. But who did make the cut is Nebula. Nebula is one of my favorite characters in the MCU because she always kind of jumps back and forth between good and evil. So I decided to go with Dark type, aka Evil type in Japan, to reflect this aspect of her character. Morpeko is perfect for Nebula since it has both a full belly side and a hangry side. Her team will also have Weavile, Sharpedo, Absol, whose head shape kinda reminds me of Nebula's when her eye sticks out, and Bisharp, whose steel typing references Nebula's robotic parts of her body. Up next is Drax. Drax is a simple man with a tragic past, but if there's one thing he's always ready to jump in to do, it's fight. So it makes perfect sense to me to make Drax the fighting type specialist. His team will include Machamp, Lucario, and Heracross. Kamao-O's scales also kinda remind me of Drax's body markings, and Beware rounds off the team to represent Drax's more simple and caring side. So another workaround that I had to do to fit all the Guardians in was to combine Groot and Rocket as one battle. I don't feel as guilty because technically Marvel vs. Capcom did it first, but hey, these two are inseparable, so it just makes perfect sense. I decided to make them collectively a grass type specialist, cause Groot's, he's a talking tree. So we had to include Trevenant and Exeggutor. But then I also wanted to include Sudowoodo, cause even though he's a rock type, he looks like a tree. I also went with Cacturn, who also kind of reminds me of Groot. And rounding off the team, I have Obstagoon to represent Rocket and his personality. Last of the Elite Four is the other daughter of Thanos, Gamora. Gamora was pretty hard to place based on her specific abilities, so I decided to lean on her role as an assassin trained under Thanos. Assassins tend to use an assortment of different weapons and methods of enacting their missions, so poison seemed like the best fit for me. I think her color scheme also goes pretty well with the typing, because come on, green skin, purple hair, it just screams poison type. Gamora's team will include Salazzle, Toxicroak, Arbok, Seviper, and Dustox. So basically Jessie from the anime. Now, on to the champion of the Pokemon League. We have the leader of the Guardians, Starlord. Quill's team, like most champions, won't have a specialty per se, but rather I kinda wanted to pull from an assortment of Pokemon that reference his abilities, personality, and story. First, we have Dragapult and Ambipom, who both can mimic Quill's dual-wielding Quad Blasters. Next is the Decidueye, whose grass ghost typing can kinda reference the dual lineage he has between being half human and half celestial, and whose arrow can also represent Yondu's Yaku arrow, since Yondu kinda served as the father figure to Quill. Toxtricity also has this rock and roll aesthetic that definitely references Starlord's love of music. Quill also has a very strong connection to his mother, which makes Kangaskhan and its Mega Evolution the perfect fit. And last but certainly not least, we have Magnezone, who can act as a stand-in for the Milano since it basically looks like a cute little spaceship. So there you have it, a full Pokemon journey through the Marvel region. What did you think? Did we miss anyone that you think we should have included? Definitely let us know in the comments what teams you would make for Wanda, Vision, Bucky, Falcon, and all the other heroes and villains that we didn't cover in this video. Remember to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and please let us know any other crossovers you're itching to see. Until next time guys, later.